Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Atlanta Startup Podcast. I am Waima DK, the Managing Director of Startup Runway, the leading platform linking underrepresented founders to their first investors. And so, on this special episode of the Atlanta Startup Podcast, I'm really excited and thrilled to welcome Georgina Dukes-Harris, the founder of Swishvo, which she was able to snag the judge's prize at the recent Startup Runway. That prize is presented by Cox. And I will let Georgina go in more, but I do want to highlight how Switchvo is transforming how healthcare professionals are matched with short-term opportunities. Um, and she'll go into more detail about her own platform. She, as the founder, can speak to it, of course, best. But without further ado, welcome, Georgina.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. So, with that, can you share a bit about what is Switchvo and the problem you are trying to solve with this solution?
Yes. So Swishvo is an AI-powered technology that empowers holistic health providers to connect, heal, and build for their life-saving services. So when you think
Mm,
holistic health providers, I want you to think people who are not in the clinical setting. So don't go the traditional route of a doctor, a phlebotomist, a nurse practitioner.
mm,
These are individuals who believe in healing mind, body, and spirit. So think faith-based spiritual counselors, think doulas for maternal health, think lactation specialists, think chiropractors. These are people who believe in that you can't heal one aspect of your life without healing all three. And
mm,
these providers have been historically shunned and marginalized due to politics and the over medicalization of healthcare that we have in America. And our ultimate goal is to empower them and make them accessible to communities who need them most, which is particularly BIPOC communities. Does that help give a good explanation or yeah?
Absolutely, absolutely. As someone, I personally ascribe to more holistic approaches to health. There is a place for hospitals in the traditional model in our the life of our health. But I think what you're doing with Switchvo to elevate more holistic providers and also make it easier for people like me to be able to find and interact with them. I think it's awesome and really is really needed. So before I ask more about that, I wanted to hear like what you got, what brought you to this, what inspired you to go achieve this, not only for this problem, but a little bit more about why you wanted to be an entrepreneur, to work in this space.
Yeah, so I'd say one, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Like I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My great grandfather owned the first Black grocery store where I was
Mm,
born and raised. So I come from a
wow.
long line of people who were sharecroppers who just believed in working for themselves just to make their ends meet. And coming up, although I always want to be an entrepreneur, I've always loved healthcare. And I felt like my superpower was
Mm,
going to be the ability to heal. Like if anyone would have asked, if you were a superhero, what would it be? I'm like, I just want to heal everyone. That's just
I love
what I
that.
thought. And so I actually came up with the idea for Swishvo and said I wanted to pursue it full time back in 2013. While graduating from undergrad at Clemson. And I had wrote the business plan because I was applying to MBA innovation program. And I was just like,
Mhm.
this is what I'm meant to do. And I
Wow.
just didn't have the confidence then. I would say, I'm like, who am I to think that I could start this company? I've only worked in a hospital in third shift. Like I didn't have any experience. So I kind of tabled it and went the traditional route. So I just decided to go to Medical University of South Carolina and just further my education, do residencies at some large academic medical centers, even started going to startups and like understanding how do they start a business and scale it from start to finish. And all that to say, I just feel like there are no mistakes when it comes to your life's journey. And although
Mm,
I didn't have the confidence in the beginning to pursue this full time, every life story I've had, like every medical situation, even the birth of my son, having it be emergency C-section and then having a daughter 12 years later. And it was completely safe and holistic birth, thanks to holistic providers. Every step I went through prepared me for this moment to break off and pursue it full time, starting last year. So although I was 10 years delayed, delayed is never denied, right? And it really helped. It just really came full circle. And now I'm just so grateful that I got all that experience and I'm really able to pursue Swishvo with the confidence that I wish I had in the beginning.
I love that. And I think with experience and time comes conviction. I
Mm-hmm.
think the becoming and pushing through to build something from scratch, which is the case with so many tech founders, you have to really believe in the thing that you're pushing. And so with the time, yeah, there was the initial spark, but that it sounds like you needed those 10 years to build that conviction that will that's empowering you and animating the work you're doing right now, which is not an easy path. So
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, I loved what you said about delay is not denial.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's really good. Um, can you share a bit about what's been the most fulfilling part of building Switchfo?
Yeah. So I would
Mm-hmm.
say there are two parts of it, as you alluded to earlier, that there's the part where I want people to have access to it, like people like me and you who need
Mm-hmm.
holistic health services to have access. And then there's the actual platform that empowers the holistic health providers to manage their clients better and actually become billable, because that's when we will really have equity and advance health equity.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say
Mm-hmm.
the access part isn't live yet, but thanks to
Mm-hmm.
funding, it's close to being live. Um,
Awesome.
so the second piece, I would say right now, because I've been so focused on that, that actually is live, has been so fulfilling. So seeing doulas receive their first reimbursement, like these are doulas
Mm-hmm.
who can change the game with maternal mortality in the United
Mm-hmm.
States, right? We
Mm-hmm.
know women are dying at an alarming rate, especially Black women, 3 times as likely to die. And doulas and as well as midwives can increase our survival rate by over 81%.
That's
And so
amazing.
the fact that we now have doulas who are getting trained, who know this work, true and true, they just don't have the time or just don't even care about the skill set of learning how to build or become in network with health plans, but they're charging these moms out of pocket and moms can't afford it. And these doulas need to live. So the fact that we have 17 doulas who are now reimbursable and who are getting
Wow.
paid for their services. And again, we're handling all the administrative work. They're just going out, being with moms, doing births. And just every time we say, oh, you got another payment, like that, just I just feel like it's not only I'm healing the lives of mothers, but I'm changing economics, like empowerment in
Mm-hmm.
my community, because these doulas
Mm-hmm.
look like me. They are Black and brown women who thought that they would have to charge moms $1,500, and to the low income mom that couldn't afford it, they couldn't provide for them. But now you're accepting Medicaid, right? You're really,
Mm-hmm.
it's changing the financial dynamics for not only moms but for these doulas as well. So that has been so rewarding, because I feel like we're on to something, and it's not just healing people mentally and physically and spiritually, it's healing people financially as well.
I love that. And that is a really keen point, the economic impact of what you're building. Now you are creating a space. Not only are you serving the doulas and these practitioners that exist now, making it more viable for them, now you create a pathway that becomes more attractive to others who might be like, well, there it doesn't sound like they can make money there, or there's a viable business
Mhm.
model there. Now you're creating it, making it so that more people can go into this space, people who have the inclination and the heart to do this work. They don't have to think as much as how they're going to eat and pay their bills to in order to do that. So
Yeah.
I'm particularly inspired around that. Actually, before I move to my next question, I wanted to ask, like, what made you call it Switchvo? Like, what's the story behind the name?
Yeah. So, oh, that I love this question because one, so my original name when I wrote it in 2013 was called Womb and the number two, Tomb, Womb to Tomb. And I
Interesting.
thought it was a creative name because I wanted it to be from start to finish, like Alpha and Omega of your life. Like I wanted people, it was more programmatic then, but I wanted it to be a spot where people can get life all the way from birth all the way to the end. And
Mhm.
so when I decided to quit full time, I found my business plan from 10 years ago. And I was just presenting it to my son who's 12. And I'm like, it's going to be Womb to Tomb. And he's like, I don't like that name. I don't know if that's a really good name, Mom. So he said, I think you should call it Swishvo. And my 12-year-old said that. And I was like, really? Why? Like, that name sounds techie, but where is that coming from? And he said, swish makes me think of fluid movement, like swish
Mhm.
or swoosh.
Mhm.
And then vo means voice and vitality. So he said,
Ah.
so it's like you're trying to give people a fluid movement through their life, which again is still end to end, but it's a
Mhm.
Gen Z way of saying womb to tomb.
Okay, so it sounds like your son is a blessing in multiple different ways. I
Yes,
think
he
I love that. I will. I'm no shade to the original idea, but I do think
is.
Swishfo has different, new, vibrant energy than the first
Yes,
one.
it
I love
does.
that. I love that. So um, I would be remiss to not ask, like, you obviously have great success so far and there may have incredible momentum, but I would love for the sake of the audience, for folks who might be earlier in their founder journey than you are, to share a bit about some of the challenges you've had along the way and how you've been able to navigate around
Oh my gosh, so many challenges, and it doesn't
them.
stop. But you just gotta be very resilient. So I would say the top three challenges that just have kept me up at night and almost made me like question myself almost every single week. I would say the first thing is funding. I think that
Mm-hmm.
when you say you're going to pursue something full time, you really have to make sure that your bottom of your Maslow's hierarchy, those needs are met. And
Mm.
I will say, just for myself personally, I didn't think that. I just went for it. I was like, I'm ready. I have a little bit of savings. I'm going to go for it. And luckily, I do have a partner. I did get married last year, so I do have a partner who is
Congrats.
like hold the household responsibilities down. But it's still a sacrifice, right? Because you were
Mm-hmm.
making a certain income, and you need that income may be like your first angel investor to get the platform up. So if you're pursuing it full time, you got to figure out a way to make that funding make sense. So I would say funding has been a huge component. But for me, because I'm starting, like, VC funding, it wasn't really an option right now because of how early I am, how I really want to prove traction. And you just want to be careful, who do you get in bed with when you're doing this type of, when you're going for funding rounds. So I took it upon myself to solve the funding problem. Was I was going to pitch. That's the one thing. I did Toastmasters. I just really tried to participate in programs to perfect your PowerPoint, just
Mm-hmm.
really pitch or apply for grants for non-dilutive funding. And it has
Mm-hmm.
helped. Right now, I've put in probably around 50, 60,000 of my own savings, but around
Mm-hmm.
40, 50 of that has been from 40 and 50,000 more has been from pitch
Mm-hmm.
competitions and grants. So
Wow.
all that to say is that funding has definitely kept us up at night because I needed funding to start the technology company, but it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to be something that stresses you out. You really just put the work forward and apply for some of these grants and pitch competitions like this one to really help get that funding in. So I would say that's number one. And then I would say the second thing is being technical. If you are a non-technical founder trying to start a tech startup, there are a lot of expenses. There are a lot of things you don't know, like how do you build a product roadmap? How do you decide which features should come first versus second? And I would say mentorship has been key because, again, I can't pay engineers, but
Mm-hmm.
I connected with a lot of them on LinkedIn. I connected with people who were founding technical people for different companies, and they're willing to talk to you. Everyone loves talking about themselves. So seeking their advice, asking them, do they have examples of product roadmaps, asking them what features would they recommend first. I think that is important to get over that hump. And then the last thing I would say is after the funding and the technical aspect is just also getting your founding team. Because right now I'm a one woman army full time, but I had to learn how to get contracts with people. So not everyone has to be hired on full time. Like some of the funding you get from grants or your savings, try using Fiverr or different types of ways to hire people part-time where they're just doing outreach or customer support 2 days a week. All that helps you get things off your plate so that you can operate at the top of your license when you're building this business. I'm sorry that was a long answer. There's so many
Oh,
challenges, but I wanted to get it down to three things that have challenged me, but also three ways that I've been able to figure out how to make it work, if that makes sense.
That is so spot on. I think that your first point is something that I think needs to be said more, especially in this space where you have founders that are going out there. You know, a lot of folks get so honed in on VC funding, but they don't recognize how important it is to you have to have something before you can really become attracted to VC, and not only just from the angle of being attractive to them, but even being able to make the right choices about who you might accept investment from. And a great way to bridge that gap is grants and non-diluted funding. And coming to a startup runway pitch competition and doing the work to do it really well so that you win. I love that. I love that. And I want to keep encouraging you in that point and anyone who might be listening who's seeking funding in the very early stages of their business. Look for grants. They are out there. It takes a little bit more legwork, really getting really good at telling your story, but it's absolutely worth it to kind of fill out your friends and family round before you go and really become venture ready, if you will. So thanks for that. That was really, really good. I want to ask you a bit about how your experience was with this Startup Runway showcase that you want to. I think it's a unique one because it's one of our virtual ones. But I would love to hear a bit about how your experience went that day.
I think it was so cool. I mean, for lack of better words, because I was just talking about this last week that one of the things that I felt like this pitch competition did that was different from any other one I participated in was the mentorship at the beginning.
Mm,
Like,
mm,
I really loved that. I mean, I took probably like 4 or 5 pages of notes with the two
wow.
mentors because it was a round robin. And the things that the mentors told me, because again, you had us make an agenda, really have kind of a board meeting with them. I felt like was the game changer that also helped me kind of think differently about my answers. And when the competition, at least, or when the judges did have questions, because they asked some of the same questions that the
Mhm.
mentors had aligned and said, you really need to get clear on this part of your business model, or this is how you're going to acquire users to your platform. So I would say from start to finish, it was an amazing experience. And one of those key differentiators for me was that mentorship conversation, because talking to leaders, especially most of them were located here in Atlanta. I think the two I
Mhm.
had, they
Mhm.
connected me to different groups in Atlanta because I'm new to the Atlanta area. I moved here about a year and a half ago.
Wow.
And they just really helped me think differently about my idea and kind of question me in a way that helped prepare me walking into the pitch competition, if that makes sense.
That's good. So you took really good advice from that piece of our program. I think I selfishly really like this question because I want to hear how people receive that part. I think that's we pride ourselves in that differentiated part about the pitch competition. Like this is we say the founders come for the money, but they leave with insight, they leave with mentorship, they leave with connections. And so I'm glad to hear from you that that's what you're getting, what you got. So
Yeah.
yay, I love that. One thing you touched upon this, but how do you prepare for a pitch competition for the benefit of people who might be listening who want to do the same thing you did?
Yeah, so one of the things I do, well, first you have to get the slide deck together. So I
Mm,
I use Google Slides. There are so many other tools like Canva
mm,
out there where you can really design a really nice slide deck. And I will say that every pitch competition that I've done, I really start with the slide deck, make it understanding who the target audience for the pitch competition is and how do I need to frame my slide deck to tell my story but also make it effective for the audience and the judges in the competition. So I would say start with the slide deck. The second part is practice. You're right. For me, I have to write out my script because I'm very country, if you can't tell it already. And so if I don't have an actual script that's written out, everything will be wide and light and all right. Like, because it was off the head, I cannot code switch unless I have it memorized. So um,
That's
I would
funny.
say practice, really understand the time frame because I was pushing it. They had to say 10
Hmm.
seconds and practice that because you don't want to go over your time. Once you go over your time, you're not ending with your most solid takeaway. So I would say practice in that time frame as much as possible. There are tools that offer that you all offered. I didn't even know was there. I think it's called Wistia.
Yeah. Hmm.
That was a game changer. I've used that tool so many times since
Oh,
you all
wow,
told with that
good.
because it allows you to present and then you can see your facial expression. You can just it just helps you practice even better because it times you, it cuts off the script, it gives a teleprompter. So I would say that's
Mhm.
the second thing is I practice a lot. And then the third thing I would say just practicing beside the slide deck and practicing and getting in the time frame is really understanding your story and your
Mhm.
why
Mhm.
is really that is the main I feel like sauce for doing a pitch competition because when you get up there you really only have like 20 seconds to get people caught into your why. Like you need those
Mhm.
head nods in that first 20-30 seconds, and if you can't do that then you have to really sit. I feel like you have to really sit with that and say, why am I doing this? Like why
Mhm.
should everyone care? And once you get clear on that, I feel like the timing and the pitch deck will come together, but most importantly just really practice that why, really practice how you can get people to understand why this work is so important. So those would be my
Mhm.
three pieces of feedback about preparing for a pitch competition.
That's good. That's really good. So, we have a few minutes, but I want to ask you, what's next for Switchvo?
So what's next? Excited.
Hmm.
So one, we have our website is now live again, thanks to the grant. We're so excited. So you can go to swishvo.com. You can sign up as a provider. You can also sign up as a client now and get access to our portal. We also have just nice to knows, like if you just want to be on the list for when other features come live, maybe you're not really an early adopter right now, and that is totally fine. I wasn't the first person to get the iPhone when it came out either. So, but you can sign up and also be on our newsletter and our listserv to just learn more. So right now, what we're working on building out is the community facing part of the portal. So we're onboarding our doulas and other holistic health providers, getting them used to the actual platform that allows them to manage their clients and reimburse. And now we're going to start opening it up so that clients, people like us, can actually book services with these holistic health providers. So we're starting in Georgia, just because that's where home base, that's where a large percentage of our providers are located. And then we hope to spread across the Southeast. So if you're located in Georgia right now, we would love for you to sign up. Find some holistic providers, whether it's acupuncture, whether it's a doula service, whether it's a herbalist service. We want you to reach out to us because we really believe that in order to revolutionize healthcare, we have to elevate the stance of holistic health in the American healthcare system. So that's what's next.
Love that. Very well said. So, do you have any final thoughts for the audience?
My only final thought is that I'm so grateful for this opportunity that Startup Runway had. It was really life changing. I think that
Mhm.
I learned so much about myself in that process and my business idea, and it just took it to the next level. Not only, again, the funding piece that takes it to the next level, but the mentorship. Really helped me think differently. And honestly, it opened up different revenue streams that I didn't consider. So, all that to say, I would encourage people to be connected to Startup Runway and organizations like this who really are trying to empower marginalized founders so that we can really change equity in our community. So I'm grateful for you all, and thank you so much for even allowing me to talk to you today.
Oh, that's awesome. It's our privilege. And so, last point, how can people get in contact with you and what you have going on with Swishvo?
Yes, so I will visit our new website, swishvo.com, or you can email info@swishvo.com. So we have support there, and you can find out a lot of information from my website now, and register, come to some of our events, and subscribe to our newsletter.
Awesome. So good, so good. Again, thank you so much for the time. This has been a great conversation. Best of luck and momentum with Swishvo, Georgina. And thank you to everyone listening. Have a great day.